What if we are living in a simulation that was created in our ancient past? A simulation based on a code that was counterintuitive to the natural code of the universe. A code that keeps us trapped in a perpetual loop of life and death. Who built this system, and were there beings in our ancient past who discovered the secret to breaking out of this simulation? In her movie Code 12, investigative journalist Melissa Tittl has discovered a code that correlates with the number 12 and connects all these ancient stories, texts, symbols, calculations, and alignments. Could someone or something have embedded a code within our oldest and most endearing stories in an attempt to help those with the eyes to see break free from our simulated reality? In this video, we investigate one more of these ancient code connections.
One of the most fascinating cultures with ties to inexplicable knowledge of the stars has to be the Dogon Tribe from sub-Saharan Africa. Their traditions say that they were once visited by amphibian beings called the Nomo from the Sirius star system, who taught them knowledge that would not be discovered by humans until the middle of the 20th century. What really surprised me was how the number 12 played a part in the creation myth of the Dogon, and was a part of information about Sirius that was passed on to them by these Nomo creatures. Could it be that the Dogon were given secret information by beings from another planet in the attempt to help humankind escape the simulation that was placed upon us? The Dogon have been tied to the Sirius star system after archaeologists have made contact with a remote tribe in the early 20th century and discovered that they knew Sirius was a binary star system, almost a full decade before scientists discovered it using a telescope. One of their legends states that their ancestors known as the Nomo came from another planet in the Sirius star system across a bridge in the Milky Way via an arc. When they arrived here, their leaders split themselves into 12 parts, which represented the 12 aspects of creation, and that's how the Dogon people were formed. They also gave their information about 12 stars that are connected to the Sirius system. It is said that before the Nomo arrived, the Earth was in chaos, and they brought order. If we put the strange connection to 12 aside and we focus on Sirius, we realize that many ancient temples all over the world are aligned to this powerful star or system. From Chaco Canyon to Chichen Itza to Angkor Wat, to all the temples in Africa, Japan, Göbekli Tepe, the ancients held the star Sirius in such high regard. But why was Sirius considered the center of all these ancient beliefs? What kind of power did it wield? And have we forgotten its importance? The primary sacred scripture of Zoroastrianism states that the supreme god established as master and overseer of all the stars was the star Sirius. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, describes the power of this star over the weather and the consequent physical effects upon mankind. In ancient Greece, the prominent astronomical alignments of Sirius were often used to set dates for popular religion, mystery cults, and the mystery teachings of both Egypt and Babylon contained information on Sirius. In fact, Sirius was the most important star in the sky to the Egyptians for the entire civil and religious system. This method of time reckoning has come to be called the Sothic cycle, after Sothis, one of the Egyptian names for Sirius. Sirius and its representation of gods and goddesses may thus be thought of as figures representing time itself. There was another portion of the night sky which was of great importance to the ancient Egyptians for the same reason. This they called the Duat, which was an area of the sky including the constellation Orion and the star Sirius. This is represented by one of the shafts contained within the Great Pyramid. This shaft is constructed so as to train itself right on the star Sirius at certain times of the year and of the night. To rise to the vicinity of Sirius and Orion was thought by the ancient Egyptians to be of the highest spiritual attainment. But why? Could the connection of all these ancient temples, cultures, and religions centered around Sirius, the fixed star, be an origin point for not only humanity, but time itself within our existence? the beginning and the end of a cycle depicted by 12 points of creation, as the Nomo pointed out in their origin story. In quantum physics, we also see this relation to 12 and the center point. The number 12 represents the 12 faces of the dodecahedron and can show how space propagates from the quantum realm to the larger planes. The transition from the Planck scale or the subatomic scale to the larger scales of space are connected through 12 vectors that create a 13th vector in the center, 0 point. Is the star Sirius the 13th point at the center to which the 12 heavenly bodies mentioned by the Nomo point toward? If ancient philosophers and astronomers thought this star controlled humanity, have we stumbled on an ancient system of which temples and thought processes were attached to the center of this great wheel, a wheel of time controlled by this center known as Sirius? Could the ancient traditions of the Dogon people be another link to the idea that we are living in a simulation, and here again, we have a possible code with the number 12 and the center being 13?
Legends about beings or creation stories embedding a code within a mythology of their experience within the unknown is common all over the world. But for the first time, I'm taking the similarities of these stories and looking at them from the angle that they left a code for us. And that code of 12 might be the understanding of not only how a possible simulation was formed, but that if you can understand the 12, you can transcend to the 13 and escape the locked system. Are the answers to how to leave this dimension of reality located somewhere in space? Is perhaps the Sirius constellation another key point? The bigger question might be, if all of this is true and we are simulated beings, why has the program embedded within us a need to seek out how it works? We have just hit the tip of the iceberg when it comes to understanding who we are and where we come from. I believe that if we can unravel the code of the universe left to us by our ancient past, we might better understand our current situation, and more importantly, find a way to break out of our self-made prisons and become the ascended masters of our own universe. Until then, may the truth be within you.
Watch the movie Code 12 to learn the science behind the code on Amazon Prime right now. Subscribe here to get more updates and free content. That is, if the simulation doesn't get in your way.
Hey, thanks for watching this special presentation of Code 12 Investigates. Think you found another Code 12 connection? Then I'd like to hear it. Go to HathorStudios.com and tell me what else you think I should investigate. While you're there, don't forget to sign up for our mailing list to keep up to date on all the recent discoveries. Together, we might just be able to unravel this Code 12 mystery.